I don't want to give you too much information because that could interfere with your results, but it will most likely feel extremely strange at first. Your eyesight will be different. You will have better hearing. The brain-machine interface will give you control over anxiety, fear, and so on. Once you get the hang of it, you should feel almost superhuman, because in many ways, you will be. Day 1. The offer. I sit in my bed awaiting the end. A nice doctor informed me of my fatal situation last night. My heart will no longer be pumping in a week's time. It's fine by me. Truly. My children are no longer here. Everything I was introduced to as a child is unrecognizable. The way of life, people, everything. Things seem so permanent in the moment, but looking back, it was all a brief, fleeting cluster that I now feel unable to grasp. Morality goes from a mere distant possibility to an inevitability so quickly. I only hope that there is something else. That there is some sort of meaning to the endless suffering that is existence. My last week, and I'm spending it within these walls. The same walls that many others spend their last moments. I don't know how, but I feel that. I remember going to visit my grandfather in the hospital in 1946. There were no televisions on the wall, no cell phones. His eyes were so bad he couldn't read. If I told him there would be a portable supercomputer the size of his hand, instant connection to everyone in the world, and artificial intelligence that is far smarter than any human ever, he would laugh in my face. Apparently there's this new virtual reality thing that's all the rage as well. People say it's almost indistinguishable from reality. Sure, it's very cool, but the implications of this are too briefly discussed. If we can create something indistinguishable from reality, then who's to say we are currently in reality? I mean, I sure hope we are. I guess it wouldn't be so bad to wake up from this in some new place that somehow makes everything that has ever happened make sense. But I imagine it would be painful to realize that everything you ever experienced was just a computer program. I wonder if true reality would seem different. Perhaps more real. Maybe what we see is just some animation, totally unlike reality. How could we ever know? Pointless to think about, I suppose. It's nearing 4 p.m. I'm on a high dosage of painkillers. I feel like a vegetable awaiting to be cooked. Then there's a knock on the door. I politely say, "Come in," as well as I can with my old raspy voice. In walks a man I've never met. I assume he's a doctor. "Hi, how are you?" he says. I smile politely at what I find to be an obnoxious question considering my current situation. I think about making a joke, but there's no point. So I just settle with, "Hello." But there's something interesting about this doctor. There's a way about him. That thing you notice in a highly intelligent person that always has something on their mind. He sits beside my bed and proceeds. "I'm going to cut to the chase. I know your history and I've read your work. Quite impressive life you've lived. I also heard you had some unfortunate news yesterday." The doctor pauses briefly, deciding how he's going to word whatever he came here to say. I just sit patiently. I truly have no idea what this could possibly be about, but I'm happy for the unexpected visit. I'm going to lay this out as simply as I can. I have a proposal for you. This is getting interesting. I work in robotics and longevity. A weird mixture, I know. Years ago, I started a company to attempt to manufacture a form of immortality. We went through many different potential variations and ways of doing this, but one in particular seemed to fall perfectly into place. And just yesterday, we were approved by the FDA to begin human trials. We have successfully manufactured a form of brain preservation. This, of course, allows for a brain to be fully functional without the human body. But that is only the first step in our plan. Step 2 is connecting a brain to a brain-machine interface device and using that to interface with a robot, thus giving the brain a vessel to inhabit. This will allow the brain access to all human senses, enhanced senses even. And of course, the ability to intuitively move around as if they were in their original body. Is he saying what I think he is? I don't want to jump to conclusions, so I reply, choosing my words carefully. Wow, that is very interesting, truly. But I'm struggling to understand where I come into all of this. Yes, well, I wanted to see if you would be interested in being our first attempt. Brain preservation we have mastered, so we're not worried about any issues arising there. But we aren't entirely sure how the robot-brain connection is going to work, or how intuitive it will be post-removal. So there is a risk. But together, if you choose to accept, I believe we can change the world. You could fly, go to space, and do anything you ever wanted for the most part. If the robot gets destroyed, you can simply upload into another unit. Now, we have many reasons for doing this. I'm sure you're aware of the changes that have been taking place in our world recently. We want to take it back before it's too late. You have been chosen based on your extensive work that you have done regarding the state and pitfalls of the modern era. I know this must be a shock to you. But with this technology, we have a chance to save freedom. You don't have to decide now. Here's my card. Call me when you're ready. And just like that, he leaves the room. I don't know what to think. Surprisingly, I'm not as shocked by all this as I would have expected. Probably has something to do with the painkillers. But holy shit. I worked my entire life trying to figure out a solution to this mess humanity has gotten itself into. This is not how I would have imagined making an impact. But it is certainly my last chance. Day 2. Accepting the offer. There's something different about today. The chemical makeup of my brain must have changed, because I feel a glimmer of hope. The last 20 years have felt like some dystopian reality. I had lost all hope. And now in my final days, I have one last opportunity. I called the man right after he left last night. He explained some more about what exactly he wanted to accomplish. This feels like the thing I've been waiting for my entire life. Suddenly my life means something again. This is our chance to end false suffering. I say false because suffering itself is inevitable. It will happen no matter what. But false suffering is caused by the hands of others. Hands that seek power instead of greatness. Control over freedom. Today marks the first day. I'm an 80-year-old man. I thought my time passed years ago. Now the dream of my younger self has suddenly been refueled. The middle class is disappearing, big government is controlling the world, and the people have no power. Ever since the invention of missiles and aircrafts, the government has had a huge advantage over its people, giving them the ability to enforce whatever agenda they want without any repercussions. Because what can the people do? Is your hunting rifle going to successfully fend off an airstrike? Or a nuclear warhead for that matter? The illusion of freedom is all we've had. But this could change that. This could change everything if done right. It won't be easy, but even if the odds are 1%, that's better than I've had in the last 40 years. The nurse comes into my room mid-thought with my breakfast. I wonder if she's aware that I'm leaving today. She sets the food down on the bedside table. "Thank you," I say to her as she exits the room. I look down at the poor cafeteria food and laugh to myself. My grand last meal has arrived on its silver platter. 2 sausage links, eggs, and a fruit cup. No complaints here. I've eaten out more times than any person could possibly need to go out to eat. At any rate, time is passing slowly this morning. I've been stuck in my head ever since I accepted the offer. My stomach is turning with anticipation, and then it happens. The door to my room is pushed open and 3 men stand in the entryway with a wheelchair. The man I spoke to yesterday isn't with them. I realize I don't even know his name, which feels strange. "My chariot awaits," I say to the men. 2 of them give me a pity laugh. The other doesn't even bother. They rolled the chair to my bed and helped me into it. I wonder if these guys know what's about to happen to me. I say a joke to find out. "Pretty soon you guys are going to be asking me for help." They laugh, but I don't think they understood. They must not be aware. Either way, unless they bring it up, I'm not going to risk talking about it. They wheel me through the hall. A few of the nurses look my way concerned. I haven't had a visitor in months, and all of a sudden these 3 large men are casually pushing me around. But I smile at them and they seem to relax. Down the elevator and into the fresh air we go. It feels good. It's been a while since I've felt the outside air. I miss it. As a child, I rarely spent any time indoors. Now it's all I know. A large Sprinter van pulls up to the door and a wheelchair ramp comes down in front of me. Mercedes. They must have some money behind this. Good to know. I probably should have looked into everything before accepting, but what the hell do I have to lose? We're on the road before I can catch my breath. The men sit alongside me. At first I was feeling pretty good, but the lack of communication with the others has me on edge. I can see the directions on the car display. Clearly they aren't trying to hide anything from me. That's good. It says 1 hour and 53 minutes until arrival. We're heading west, which seems strange. I thought it was only farmland that way. I should probably drop what I think I know. For this company to have successfully done brain preservation, I'm assuming they have some major funding on their side. For all I know, they could have an underground bunker inside of some inconspicuous barn 50 stories deep. Again, I should probably manage my expectations. We go through the rest of the ride relatively quietly. The GPS says we're 2 minutes away. We are now on a dirt road with nothing in sight but some random little farmhouse off to the left. But to my surprise, we don't turn left. Instead, we head straight into the trees. The GPS is no longer active. The van continues into the wooded area. It feels almost tropical. I truly didn't realize a place like this was only 2 hours outside of the city. After 5 minutes of driving deeper into the trees, I finally see it. The entry gate is camouflage. Unless you have coordinates, you aren't coming across this place. It's stunning. Something out of the future. I was right about the money thing, that's for sure. It's finally setting in. This is where things change. This is where I transcend humanity. In this cinematic lab hidden away in the trees. Things move pretty quickly from here. The van pulls up to the front and the door slides open. The man who met with me yesterday awaits on the other side with a smile. "Oh good, it's you. I was beginning to think these guys were kidnapping me," I say. The man smiles. "I'm glad you could make it. If you don't mind, we'd like to get started today." I nod. I would expect nothing less. "But I need something from you first." The man looks at me confused. Then, trying to keep it casual, he says, "Sure. What do you need?" My humor gets the best of me, and I pause for dramatic effect. "Your name." He laughs genuinely. "Yes, of course. Jamie. I like Jamie. I think I could trust him. He feels easy to read." I follow Jamie all the way through the facility. It's state of the art. He shows me around all the different sections. Lots of brilliant people under one roof. Finally, he takes me to my holding area. "I would love to offer you a last meal, but the procedure is best done without food in your system. Take as much time as you need in here. And when you're ready," Jamie hands me the walkie-talkie, "just let us know, and we will begin the process. Any questions?" I just smile and shake my head. No. With that, Jamie leaves. And once again, I am left alone. I roll my wheelchair to the window. It's beautiful. Much better than the view of concrete from my room in the hospital. This is one of the final moments I will see the world through these eyes. I can't hide now. The fear is certainly building. I'm primarily worried that the new experience I have while living through this robot will distort my perception of the life I already lived. Will I still remember my life in the same way after seeing the world through new eyes? As I stare out the window at the trees, I'm reminded of being a child. I lived in a very similar place growing up. It was a small town. Not much to do except spend time with your family and friends. The days seemed to last forever back then. Everything was so new. Wonder if I will have a similar experience when I first inhabit the robot. I have to stop thinking for a moment. I'll have plenty of time to do that after the procedure. I choose a spot on the tree and stare at it, just focusing my breath. Peace. After 10 minutes, I'm ready. There's no point in waiting any longer. After sitting in a hospital bed for weeks, there isn't a thought left to be pondered about death. It was nice to be human. Even with all the suffering, the letdowns, the pointlessness. At least I was able to experience something. Now, as I'm at death's door, I get one final chance to achieve my life's goal, making the world a reasonable place, run by reasonable people. It sounds simple, but try to accomplish it. It may be the one thing that is truly impossible. The purpose of humanity may only be temporary. If this doesn't work, then I will die, assuming that is the case. On that note, I grab the walkie-talkie and choose my fate. Jamie comes back in the room with 2 other people in lab coats. "That was quick. Are you sure you're ready?" I nod. "There's nothing left for me here." Jamie nods and continues the process. "Tim and Lisa here are going to check your vitals and make sure you are ready for the operation. While they do that, I'll run through everything that is going to happen." I nod again. He continues. "The process of removing the brain is a long one. You will be put under for around 24 hours. Simply speaking, we will remove the brain from your body and put it into a machine that replaces every function your body provides in order for the brain to function. After this happens, we will connect your brain to a brain-machine interface, which will allow us to externally monitor you and will allow you to connect to the robot. Now, I have to warn you, there may be a brief period after you wake up where you don't have any senses. Your brain will be awake as if it was any ordinary morning, but you will have absolutely no form of input or output from the outside world. This is where it gets dangerous. Similar to how a dream may seem to last for days, your concept of time may alter in this state. 5 minutes could feel like hours, or worse. So please, do your best to stay calm. It helps to try and control your imagination. Think of a happy place, somewhere that can't be distorted or made negative. After this brief 5-minute window, we will connect you to the robot and immediately begin testing. We have an entire facility waiting. I don't want to give you too much information because that could interfere with your results, but it will most likely feel extremely strange at first. Your eyesight will be different. You will have better hearing. The brain-machine interface will give you control over anxiety, fear, and so on. Once you get the hang of it, you should feel almost superhuman, because in many ways, you will be. If everything goes according to plan, the next few weeks will go very quickly. We plan on having many others like you, and it will be you who leads them. I know you're aware of what's at stake, so I won't even mention it. For now, all you need to do is relax. Jamie puts a hand on my shoulder. Tim and Lisa have me hooked up to this machine. My heart rate is a little high. I guess that won't matter when they put me under. Do you have any questions? Jamie asks as Tim and Lisa finish up. None that will make any difference. The wait is over. No more time for thinking. Tim and Lisa give the all clear, and we're out the door. Tim pushes me through the hallway. He stops me in front of large double doors. He goes up to the sensor and scans his thumb. The doors effortlessly slide open. He pushes me inside. It's immaculate. 6 people in full surgical attire stand waiting as I enter. They are all ready to go. Very steady people. Focused. These are not people who seem like they make many mistakes. In the corner next to the bed, there's a machine. It's square, about 3 feet tall and 2 feet wide. Extremely fancy. How much does that thing cost? I ask them, with a smile, trying to lighten the mood. No one laughs. Over the intercom, Jamie says, "Many millions." Well, that's enough talking for me. They push me to the side of the bed and help me in. The room is unnerving. So much technology that I don't understand. I set my head on the pillow and immediately they get to work. One of them puts a band around my arm and attaches multiple IVs without warning. I watch as the same person inserts a needle into the IV and pumps the liquid in. I feel it the second it reaches my bloodstream. This isn't like going to the dentist or some surgery. This is the last moment of existence, in the way I have known it my entire life. And my final words were, "How much did that thing cost?" A failed joke. Before I finish the thought, I pass out. Day 3. Wake up.